Welcome to the official critique and awards presentation for the 2021 Joliet Junior College Livestock Judging Contest. My name's Gracia Ramp and I'm the Livestock Judging Coach and Animal Activity Specialist here at JJC. Before we get started, we want to send a huge thank you to the families that provided livestock for our contest and to our sponsors, Purina and Mark Johnson. First, we'll go over a brief critique of each of the classes and then we'll get into the awards for the junior questions, senior questions, and reasons divisions. Coaches, please check your emails following the conclusion of this video for full results.
Greatness can be felt. It has that look in its eye. It plays by its own rules. Greatness is simple. You know it when you see it. Boom. Animals speak louder than words. And if there's greatness on the inside, it shows on the outside.
Hi folks, my name is Patrick Kelly. I'm one of the agriculture faculty members here at JJC. I'm also an advisor and coordinator of the Ag Production and Swine Management programs and a former livestock judging coach. So here today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Angus heifers that you guys saw on Friday and Saturday. Thought it was a really nice class. I enjoyed listening to it in the reasons room and thought there was just a lot of differences amongst it, and so it was pretty enjoyable to listen to with the scenario that was put on it. So when you walk up to the class, there was a couple things we thought that you needed to do, and the first thing, the big thing that we thought as a committee needed to do was find two and put her last. You know, certainly if you want to tie into two and tell me that she's really smooth-shouldered and feminine-fronted, and she does tie a little bit higher and nicer out of the top side of her shoulder and gets that neck cranked way up there, and she follows that back further with a good, bold, round rib shape. But unfortunately, it kind of ends there for her, because even though she's a smooth-shouldered one, which matches up with her birth weight, her low birth weight and high calving knees, she's a little too straight in the angle to her shoulder. I'd love to see her laid back in it. And also when you file your way back to her hip, her pin set is entirely too low in relation to her hooks, and she wants to tuck her hind legs underneath her and get awfully sickle-hocked as she goes away from you, and is probably the frailest as we've got at the ground. So we thought it was just enough things to check her off and put her last. We cut you 5 if you didn't find her and put her to the bottom. Now on the other end of the spectrum, we also kind of thought you needed to find 4 and run her to the top, and if you didn't, we cut you 4. This was a heifer we thought was really balanced, you know, really complete, just got that total look and presence about her. You know, she checks those boxes for functional, maternal, you know, just a really good skeleton and type and kind, just practical in terms of her shape. You know, she's got dimension, she's got plenty of rib shape, and she's just really sound when she gets out and moves. And this white flank heifer may get a little coarse in her teats and maybe it's not perfect out of the top side of her shoulder, but we think she checks enough boxes that she needs to win. From there, it was an interesting middle pair, and you know, you've got the heifers of 1 and 3 left. Certainly one's the high-performing, big-framed heifer. You know, she's long-bodied. You can tell me that kind of stuff all day. You know, long-bodied and big-framed. But, you know, even though she's the stoutest one at the ground and probably has some of the most bone shape, when you step in behind her, she doesn't match what you think from the side. She's one of the flatter muscled, narrower built ones in class, and just therefore her structural integrity maybe we're questioning a little bit in terms of that too. So we saw there was just a way she had some negatives there that needed to have some discussion in the middle pair, even though she's the high-performing heifer. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got 3, who's pretty moderate in her type and kind, and I'll listen to that if you can at least tell me about all the positive that she's got. I think it's hard to find any other negatives besides being moderate, as she's the complete, balanced heifer that's also, like our class winner, super functional in terms of her skeleton, and I just love the way she's built, and I actually think she's probably a little nicer in her front end structure than what even our class winner is. She's great in her lines, and just, you know, it's just super functional when she gets out and moves. But yeah, she's moderate, but we do think that she's probably of this pair the higher quality heifer, and that's why we chose to still continue with that and write it 3-1 in the middle. So our official for the Angus heifer class is 4-3-1-2 with cuts of 4, 2, and 5. Thank you.
The official placing for the Simmental heifers is 1, 2, 3, 4 with cuts of 2, 2, and 6. Obviously, we thought there was one thing you needed to do here, and that was get 4 bottom. She's just the off-quality heifer in class. She's coarse about her shoulder and round out of her hip. She's just too shallow and dry about her rib design. So you need to find her bottom, and then you've got 3 more to sort. We go ahead and start with the 1 heifer. Where you have her might depend on when you saw her. On Friday, I think she looked really good, and some of you might think she starts with a bigger cut. But Saturday morning, she came into heat and was a little bit wrung out. So we go ahead and start with her. I think she's just a really complete heifer. It's big-footed and good and comfortable in her structure. She's ultra-maternal about her rib design and the sweep to her lower rib, and yet she still has plenty of power and dimension to go with it. We go ahead and follow her up with the 2 heifer. I think that's one that gives you a really quality look from the profile. She's really attractive and feminine about her head and neck, and good in the set to her hip and hind leg. Where you'd want to fix her, I think she gets a touch moderate or perhaps a little bit younger. She opens up at the top of her shoulder and then is a little bit easier in her top line. We use the 3 heifer in third, and she's one that floats on cards a lot, one that you really have to like from a performance perspective, a really high-performing, stout, powerful kind of heifer. Unfortunately, her build's just not good enough. She's too straight in the angle to her shoulder. You'd like to fix her in the set to her hock and pastern. And for her size, I think that she could use a little bit more depth of body to balance up well. So I listened to reasons on this class. You were rewarded for accuracy and for talking structural differences. If you got 4 off bottom, that probably hurt you a bit. So my high sets were 47s with contestant number 181 and 125. Again, the official placing and cuts for the Simmental heifers was 1, 2, 3, 4, with cuts of 2, 2, and 6.
Hey guys, my name is Tony Dupuis, originally from Chevannes, Illinois. I got the opportunity here to come and critique and listen to reasons for market hogs number 1, so class number 3, market hogs 1. Little background, I was a part of the 2018-2019 JJC Livestock team. I got the opportunity to go down to University of Illinois, be a part of the 2020 team, and I've been blessed with being admitted to grad school and allowing to assist with the Illinois 4-H team as well as the U of I's collegiate team. So when we walked up to this class, we definitely thought it had to split into 2 pairs, and you had to push the barrows up and you had to push the gilts down. I'm just kind of going through individually with each one of the barrows. The number 1 barrow, that's the darker skinned barrow. We talk about shape, expression, surely one that's got a lot of power to him. But really what we thought was really cool about this hog is that his build and his ability to drive longer. He's definitely a more athletically made type of barrow. He is the squarest and the most contained about his skeleton. As he's coming at you, he stays the squarest into his knee, and as he drives away from you, he doesn't get too outside of himself. Certainly there's criticism about him that in comparison to 2 that a lot of you guys pointed out in the reasons room, and I'm happy you guys did. He's not as soft-centered, and he doesn't have as much rib as 2, and we would listen to that, but we still find him to be way in the window of acceptability for that. So that's just a caution for you guys as you come into there. Make sure you know that 1 has still got plenty of rib body and definitely softness about him to win the class. Now 2, the lighter skinned or the off-belted barrow, the off-mark barrow, whatever you want to call him. That guy is true width and he is true dimension for sure. No question, his practicality and functionality can make him a comfortable second. It's an easy feeding, good type of hog who's definitely got some extra pliability. But for us, with some criticisms we had about him, that is no question, and by far and away, that is the heaviest condition hog. And he gets a little bit plainer about his muscularity as a consequence to that. And then as we move into the bottom pair, we find a lot more discussion but you can't really, it's going to be tough to talk your guys' way into getting 3 or 4 out of the bottom pair. But as we talk about the 2 gilts, start with number 3, the narrow-belted gilt, who also happens to be a potential litter mate for 1 and 2. So 1, 2, and 3 are all similarly notched gilts, or similarly notched hogs. So be sure to point that out if you guys are talking them. 3 is a long-bodied extended gilt, and we think that she's one that gives you more of that actual market pieces that we're looking for in comparison to 4. We think just from a performance and a pay weight standpoint that's the most profitable hog in the bottom pair. And that kind of what moves us into the blue mask gilt, or the blue crown gilt, or the blue face gilt, whatever you guys wanted to say with that. Some cautions I've got for you guys as you approach into the reasons room. I heard a lot of you guys come in and just completely hammer on this hog. Be sure there's a lot of cool pieces into her. Obviously that she doesn't compete with 1 and 2, but there's a lot of cool pieces with this gilt that you have to talk about as a pair standpoint. Some good parts about her, I think that is a better built kind of gilt in the bottom pair. The way she attaches into her blade, she stays leveler out of her hip, and as well as when she gets the ground and when she starts driving, she does it with more comfort and actually more substance. That's a stouter footed, bolder forearm kind of female in the bottom pair. But obviously after that, that is the lightest muscle, that is the most compact made gilt, and we just kind of have a worry from a feed type standpoint that she is the driest about her middle, and she doesn't have as much of a carcass standpoint today in comparison to move up. So we placed it 1, 2, 3, 4. We cut it 2, 5, and 3. Thank you so much to the JJC family that allowed me to come back to my old campus and be able to help out with the contest and then discuss these hogs.
Folks, I'm going to also do a quick critique on your Market Hogs. Market Hogs 2, class number 4. We placed this class as a committee 4-1-3-2 and only cut it 2, 2, and 2. We thought there was a lot of challenge in this class, lots of differences, and just depends on where you want to set your priorities on where you'll go with it, and a lot of just extremes on each end of it. So we thought the safest thing to do was keep this pair of barrows in the top of 4 and 1. 4 is the off-belted barrow that we just think was overall the most productive type of hog that we had in here. He's got plenty of rib shape, pretty shapely from behind, and is pretty level and just overall good proportion when you study him from all angles. Now I'll certainly admit that his structure does get a little questionable as the day wears on, and especially when we got him into that second day. It wants to get a little bow-legged. It goes away from you from behind, but just overall when he goes to the rail, I think that'll be a really productive, valuable hog, and therefore we like to start with him. Then next we keep the 1 barrow up there with him. Another one we just thought was a really nice complete pig, from there. And I'll admit he's fresher in his shape than our class winner, and honestly probably more comfortable on the drive. But with that, being more comfortable, he's also the narrower built one, and gets a little round hip, which maybe helps him be just a little more comfortable and last as long as the day. So we do think that maybe, although he has some expression there, just that what he's lacking there in terms of shape and structural dimension, we like him in second from there. Then it comes to a pair of hogs that are very different in their types and kinds, and we decided to keep the 3 gilt in third, and she is massive hipped and super shapely, especially when you get her from behind and if you study her down her top, and she by far has the percent lean advantage in the class. But with that comes some pretty big negatives that just kind of make her the wrong kind. And that's that she's tight-spined, she's pretty straight off of both ends, and just too harsh and shallow in her rib shape. But I do think it's those carcass traits and the value she'll have when she goes to the rail that keeps her in third. As you know, the barrow that we put in last, the 2 barrow that's got the swollen flank, he's level and he's pretty good structured and probably one of the most comfortable and flexible that we've got in class. But it kind of ends there, and it's easier for him to do that as he's the narrower built, lighter muscled one of the group, and we just felt like he was one that just was kind of the least valuable one when going to rail, so we like him last. Thank you.
The official placing of the Hampshire Influence breeding gilts is 4-3-2-1 with cuts of 2, 2, and 5. The big thing to do here is to find the 1 gilt bottom. She's just the wrong kind. She's the frail, narrow-made gilt that's too shallow and flat about her rib design and too straight off of either end. Where you go from here probably depends on what your priorities are. We go ahead and start with the 4 gilt. She's the most correct in her basic build and remains the most comfortable and flexible for the duration of the 4 contests. She's also really attractive in her proportions. She does get in at her knee and needs to be stouter featured, but I think she's the combination gilt in class. We go ahead and use the 3 gilt second. This is the powerhouse gilt. She's really stout featured and expressive and bold in her shape up high. She has the fundamentals to make barrows. Unfortunately, she's just a coarser made gilt that gets plainer about her front end and needs to be elevated at the point of her shoulder. A couple things to note here too is that she's really blunt and coarse about her underline and incredibly small in her vulva size. We use the 2 gilt in third. That's a really high performing, big scaled gilt that's extra productive about her center body. She's just the plainer made gilt that closes up underneath and gets too tight in her spine. So again, the official for the Hampshire Influence breeding gilts is 4, 3, 2, 1 with cuts of 2, 2, and 5.
Hi, my name is Clay Elliott, and I am a small ruminant technical consultant for Purina Animal Nutrition. Today I'd like to showcase high-octane Clarifly. This is an insect growth regulator that is a feed-through product that helps us control the larval stage of flies. The way this product works is it's fed to the animals, passes through the digestive system, and it's dropped in the excrement, and that is what slows the larval growth. Because we've jeopardized the life cycle of that fly, it does reduce the impact and the number of flies that we see at that point. What this does, in fact, is makes our animals comfortable and helps them remain healthy and thrive in the environment that they're in. Stop by your local Purina retailer to pick up high-octane Clarifly.
Well, welcome, and first thank you to the students, parents, coaches, advisors, and everyone who was gracious enough to attend our 2021 Livestock Judging Contest here at JJC. We certainly wish the critique and the awards presentation could be in person, but we're certainly very grateful that we got an opportunity to share some classes of livestock with you and get you in our facilities here at Joliet Junior College. My name's Brad Angus. I serve as a faculty member in agriculture and as well the department chair for the Ag, Hort, and Vet Sciences department. Formerly coached the livestock judging team here for a number of years, and it's my pleasure to give you a very brief critique of the 4 sheep and goat classes that we had in our 4 contests Friday and Saturday. So to begin our sheep and goat division, we'll talk about class number 6, which was our breeding sheep class entitled Weather Dams, high quality set of crossbred or Hampshire-based ewes. You were given some genetic information in a scenario that essentially said we were going to make high-end or elite wethers and breeding stock. It also gave you the genetic information of the buck that they were going to be mated to, and you were asked to put those ewes in an order. We certainly thought there was one essentially easy thing to do or logical thing to do in this class, and that was to find the number 1 ewe and get her to the bottom of the class. This is a ewe that probably had the most structural challenges. She was one of the lower performing ewes in terms of physical size and stature, one of the lighter muscled ewes in this class, and she also had the most concerning, particularly dwarf gene status as you read her on paper, particularly in the given scenario, and so she needs to be to the bottom of the class. After that, you've got 3 high quality ewes that all offer you some advantages and some things that maybe you'd like to change just a little bit. And we certainly thought you could put those ewes in a lot of different orders and justify it had you had to go to the reasons room and explain that. The number 2 ewe is a really big, extended, attractive ewe, super good fronted, one that I think has some muscle and some bone. And on the flip side, she's maybe a ewe that you'd like to make just a little softer in terms of her body cavity. And I'd like to see perhaps that ewe go just a little more comfortably and authoritatively off of her hind leg. The number 3 ewe is certainly a notch more moderate in her kind. From her shoulder back, I think this ewe is awfully good. She's really round and big and robust in her body. She's soft flanked and practical in her look, big hipped, big boned, and I think truly the most comfortable ewe in terms of her skeleton as you watch her work off of both ends. If you're going to fix her at all, you want to readjust her front end skeleton a little bit. She drops her chest floor out, she opens up in her shoulder, maybe her neck doesn't attach quite as attractively to her body as a couple of the other ewes, but she's certainly got a lot of value in this scenario for club lamb production, just based on the openness of her skeleton and the power that she has. And then we've got number 4, who's a little lighter weight, lower performing sheep in terms of just, the mass and again, the pounds that she presents to us in class. But you sure like this ewe a lot when you look at her from the profile. Really straight in terms of her top line, really elegant in the way that she's designed up through her shoulder and her front end and the way that her neck sets on her body. But at the same time, she's one that's just a little narrower underneath, a little more fragile in terms of her bone work, and maybe she just doesn't offer us that openness of skeleton, that power and dimension when you study her both coming right at you and going away, as well as the view that you get if you look down her top. And so we thought all those ewes had value. We thought you could, again, rearrange those ewes in a lot of different orders. The committee chose to use the big-bodied ewe to start in 3. We liked the larger outlined, real attractive 2 ewe in second, 4 in third, and then again 1 to conclude the class. So that's a 3-2-4-1 official placing, and the cuts were 2, 2, and 5. Next up, we'll talk Class 7, market lambs number 1. For those of you that were in the reasons division, this was a reasons class. For those of you in the questions division, this was a placings only class, and one that you were asked to evaluate and mark a card without actually handling those lambs, which may have been a little challenging for some of you, but we hope the opportunity to get in and do close inspection was equally as good. I think as you study those sheep from afar, when you turn around and look at the class, the quick thing to do is to realize we've got 2 really stout, wide constructed, powerfully built sheep that just appear to have a lot of muscle, and they do, and put them in the top pair, and then find a pair of sheep that are the contrast of that, a little narrower constructed, a little more poorly built lambs that just don't appear to have as much natural thickness and terminal value, and put them in the bottom pair. And we really thought this was a true 2-pair class. Those 2 stout sheep are 1 and 4, and while I do think that there are some differences in muscle, I think they both have an abundance of that. And really the difference between 1 and 4 to us as a committee was that one of those sheep is just a lot higher quality in what he offers beyond muscle. And that's number 1. I think that's a sheep that's really good looking from the side. He's assembled extremely well in terms of his profile and his skeleton, top and bottom line. He's one that offers you a lot of foot and bone and a really attractive look up through his front end. And for those who got to handle, you step up on him, and this sheep's really got a neat, fresh, expressive tone to his rack, his loin, and his hip, and I think one that's certainly powerful enough when you get right back behind it. On the other end of the class is 4, and I won't argue with anybody that says he has just a little bit more spread to his rack and maybe even just a little more spread to his loin. But at the same time, this is a sheep that to me tapers a little bit more back into his dock and in the top side of his hip. And I think from the profiles where his disadvantage is, he's just a little plainer featured, a little more common in the way that he's made through his shoulder and his front end. And also, this is a lamb that wants to push his spine up and read like maybe he's not quite as good in his skeleton. So we like that top pair 1 over 4 with a pretty sizable cut in the middle. And then in the bottom, I think you have an equally challenging pair between 2 and 3. 2's a lamb that is very expressive in what you see when you get up on top of him. He handles the same way. He's a very lean, high cutability sheep in his look and in his touch. 3's a sheep that's maybe a bit bigger in terms of his center and looks like a more practical sheep in terms of his body. I think he's one that reads a little wider constructed underneath and one that's on a little bit more bone. And so it's certainly a challenge there. I guess the longer we studied those two lambs, the narrower two got underneath. He got a little harder in his body. He wanted to come apart just a bit more in terms of the shape and the way that he carries his loin. And so although we think that 3 may need to be, again, redesigned a little bit in his top line, and we'd like to give him a shot more shape right out of his shoulder, we did think in a close decision it was okay to go 3 over 2. So the final placing on Market Lambs number 1, Class 7, is 1, 4, 3, 2, and the cuts are 3, 5, and 2. We'll go ahead and move right into Class number 8, which is Market Lambs number 2. And this was the questions class for those of you in that division, and for the reasons students, simply a placings only class. And much like the last class, I think it's quickly a 2-pair class. Not only are there a pair of heavier muscled sheep, to me they're also a pair of just higher performing sheep. They look like they're a little bigger in their kind, probably a notch heavier in terms of the weight that they offer, and they're sheep that are just stouter in their feature in every regard in comparison to the bottom pair, and that's 2 and 4. Now again, we may have a situation here where one of those lambs is just a little more attractive, and certainly I do think that 4 is. I think he's a sheep that's a little leveler in his top line, a little neater in the way that he's made up through his front end. But when you step in and handle that lamb, you start to ask yourself, does he have just a little bit more condition on him? Is he just a little softer over his loin? Is that a sheep that wants to taper ever so slightly back to his hip and maybe not be quite as impressive when you get up on top of him or handle him as what maybe you thought he was from the outside? 2, on the other hand, is a sheep that from the outside you'd like to make him just a little neater fronted. You'd like to fix his front pasterns, as one of the questions alluded to, and you'd maybe like to set his loin in him just a little neater than what it is. But boy, when you get up on top of that sheep, he's really big racked. He touches extremely good. His loin's actually pretty nice in terms of handle, and that one's immensely big hipped, really deep legged, big bone, just a stout featured, good terminal kind of a market lamb. And so again, in what we thought was a close pair in Market Lambs 2, we chose to go 2 over 4 in the top pair. We think the cut is pretty sizable in the middle because of a whole bunch of things. Again, just performance, muscularity, terminal value. Neither 1 nor 3, I don't think, can compete with the top pair of lambs. I again think this is a very close pair in the bottom between 1 and 3. I like the extra length that 3 offers. I like the fact that he's maybe just a little longer fronted than 1 is, and I think he's a sheep that perhaps reads like he's a bit bigger in terms of his backside shape, and when you get up on top of him, I think perhaps there is just a little bit more rack. But at the same time, this is one that certainly needs to be squarer and truer from his hooks to his pins. He needs to carry some more muscle down in his leg, and I'd like to stouten that one up a good deal in terms of his feature from the standpoint of foot and bone. And those things 1 offers in a little better version than what we've got in 3. I think that one stands square at the ground when you view him from behind. I think he's really impressive when you put your hands on him, just in terms of his tone and his freshness down his top. I think he gets progressively wider from his shoulder back to his hip, and I think that sheep's actually a nickel better in terms of his balance from the side. And what I mean by that is his proportions in terms of his depth from the top of his shoulder to his chest, and he progressively wants to get a little deeper as we take him back to his flank. And if you compare that to 3, I think 3's a bit more out of balance. And so that's again a very, very close pair in the bottom, but we like them 1 over 3. So again, a 2-pair class, 2, 4, 1, and 3. Cuts are 2, 5, and 2 for Market Lambs number 2. So the final class in our sheep and goat division is class number 9, which is market goats or market wethers. And I think undoubtedly, at least for me, and I think the committee, probably the most challenging and interesting class for us to put an official on. We did think as a committee there was one thing that probably you needed to do, and that was to go ahead and start with the 2 goat. No one is going to accuse him of being the prettiest goat that's ever been born. He's a little bolder fronted, a little shorter necked than the ideal market show goat. But I think just in terms of basic fundamentals, this is a wide skeleton, powerfully muscled, really just practical goat in terms of his body, his width. I think a goat that's got enough bone, and I think he holds himself together well enough. After that, I think there's a lot of decisions to be made in class, and I again think there are a lot of potentially okay placings with what you do with the remaining 3 goats, because the truth is they all have class advantages in the final 3, and they all certainly have things that we want to change a lot about them. Just real quickly, starting with number 1, I think this is a goat that when you walked up to class, you probably thought, wow, this guy's pretty narrow, and he's certainly the frailest goat in terms of his bone and his skeleton, and that's a problem. But the problem with him is that when you step up on him and handle, you go, wow, that's a pretty nice touch and a pretty nice tone to his rack and his loin. We just wish it was more expansive. We wish there was more muscle there, but he's compositionally a very good goat from the standpoint of his condition. He's certainly one that handles very well. He just needs to be a lot wider, stouter, and heavier constructed. Number 3 is a goat that's quite a bit more moderate in terms of his size. I think some people probably think he looks a lot like 2 in terms of being just a little bolder bodied, a little bit more practical perhaps in his look. At the same time, I think this is probably the most poorly built goat in terms of his balance and his lines. I think he's a little coarse-fronted and short-necked. I certainly believe from a handle standpoint, he's the softest touching goat. And while I do believe that he's fairly wide constructed, I'm not sure that I believe there's a whole lot of muscle working down his top or in him from behind. He may well be one of the lighter weight goats within class as well, but certainly can appreciate the fact that many of you probably believe that he looked a little bit more like 2 than any other goat that we had in class. And then there's number 4, and if you study him from the side view, that's probably the goat you said, boy, I like that one a lot. From a balance perspective, a look perspective, that's certainly the goat that's most like a quality show goat in terms of his profile and his kind. And he's one that's fairly big boned and got some hair on him and really looks the part in terms of some of those extras. The problem is when you get right up on top of him, this goat's probably the most disappointing in terms of the shape of his forerib and center body, and the most disappointing in terms of how much muscle he works, at least from his shoulder back to his hip. And so we really have some challenges there in terms of where you want to lay your priorities, and we had quite a few discussions. Ultimately, we chose to take the number 3 goat that we thought was kind of big-bodied and wide constructed, but one that was out of balance, a little softer to the touch, and we really questioned how much true muscle he has and put him 4th. And then use 4 over 1, and it was also a very close middle pair. And so the final placing on the market goats is 2, 4, 1 and 3. Cuts are 4, 2, and 2. Thank you all again for coming, and enjoyed the opportunity to talk to you about the classes in the sheep and goat division.
Top 10 individuals in the sheep and goat division. In 10th place with 202 points from Livingston McLean Woodford Gold, Sarah Parker. In 9th place, her teammate with 204 points, Jared Bressner. In 8th from Kendall County 4-H with 205 points, Eli Swenson. In 7th place from Kankakee County West with 207 points, Kendall Wakey. In 6th with 207 points from Henry Stark 4-H, Cashin Ellerbach. In 5th from Knox County Purple with 209 points, Ava Johnson. In 4th place with 213 points from Henry Stark 4-H, Chet Gillespie. In 3rd place from Knox County Purple with 216 points, Abby Kane. In 2nd place, her teammate with 219 points, Addison Link. And winning the sheep and goat division with 222 points from Alla number 1, Riker Beckmeyer. The top 5 teams in the sheep and goat division. In 5th place with 578 points, Fulton County 4-H. In 4th with 580 points, Kankakee County West. In 3rd with 601 points, Livingston McLean Woodford Gold. In 2nd with 618 points, Henry Stark 4-H. And winning the sheep and goat division with 644 points, Knox County Purple. In the swine division, 10th place from Livingston McLean Woodford Gold with 149 points, Travis Rohde. In 9th from SLS Middle School with 150 points, Kylie Mason. 8th, Woodworth County Clovers, 154 points, Ben Schlief. In 7th place from Knox County Purple with 157 points, Lauren Johnson. In 6th, her teammate with 157 points, Abby Kane. 5th place from SLS Middle School with 158 points, Adriana Rodriguez. 4th place from Boone County 4-H with 161 points, Isabel Stolquist. 3rd from Livingston McLean Woodford Gold with 162 points, Sarah Parker. 2nd place from Fulton County 4-H with 167 points, Anna Servin. And winning the swine division from Knox County Purple with 167 points, Addison Link. Top 5 teams in the swine division. In 5th place with 441 points, Fulton County 4-H. In 4th with 446 points, SLS Middle School. In 3rd place with 449 points, Boone County 4-H. In 2nd place with 452 points, Livingston McLean Woodford Gold. And winning the swine division with 481 points, Knox County Purple. Top 10 individuals in the beef division. 10th place from Kendall County 4-H number 1 with 110 points, Tucker Whitaker. In 9th place from Kendall County 4-H number 2 with 110 points, Kendall Whitaker. In 8th place from Livingston McLean Woodford Gold with 110 points, Travis Rohde. In 7th place with 111 points from Alla number 1, Riker Beckmeyer. In 6th place from Livingston McLean Woodford White with 112 points, Brecken Bloomberg. In 5th place from Fulton County 4-H with 115 points, Isabel Kemp. In 4th place from Kendall County 4-H number 1 with 121 points, Clayton Anderson. In 3rd place from Knox County Purple with 124 points, Lauren Johnson. In 2nd from Livingston McLean Woodford Gold with 128 points, Sarah Parker. And winning the beef division from Henry Stark 4-H with 137 points, Cashin Ellerbach. Top 5 teams for the beef division. 5th place with 314 points, Alla number 1. 4th place with 319 points, Fulton County 4-H. 3rd with 331 points, Kendall County 4-H number 1. 2nd place with 339 points, Livingston McLean Woodford Gold. And winning the beef division with 354 points, Henry Stark 4-H. Top 10 individuals in the questions portion of the contest. 10th place from Fulton County 4-H with 60 points is Isabel Kemp. 9th place with 65 points from Knox County Purple, Abby Kane. 8th place from Boone County 4-H with 70 points, Isabel Stolquist. 7th place with 80 points from Henry Stark 4-H, Chet Gillespie. 6th from Alla 1 with 80 points, Riker Beckmeyer. 5th place from Livingston McLean Woodford Gold with 80 points, Travis Rohde. 4th place, his teammate with 85 points, Sarah Parker. 3rd place from Fulton County 4-H with 85 points, Anna Servin. 2nd place with 90 points from Henry Stark 4-H, Cashin Ellerbrock. And winning the questions division from Knox County Purple with 90 points, Addison Link. Top 5 teams in the questions division. 5th place with 160 points, Livingston McLean Woodford White. 4th place with 185 points, Fulton County 4-H. 3rd with 210 points, Knox County Purple. 2nd place with 220 points, Livingston McLean Woodford Gold. And winning the questions division with 230 points, Henry Stark 4-H. Top 10 individuals overall in the junior questions division. 10th place with 449 points from Livingston McLean Woodford White, Brecken Bloomberg. 9th place from Knox County Purple with 450 points, Ava Johnson. 8th from Knox County Purple with 450 points, Abby Kane. 7th place with 451 points from Kendall County 4-H number 1, Clayton Anderson. 6th place from Alla number 1 with 463 points, Riker Beckmeyer. 5th place with 466 points from Henry Stark 4-H, Chet Gillespie. 4th from Fulton County 4-H with 469 points, Anna Servin. 3rd from Knox County Purple with 482 points, Addison Link. 2nd from Livingston McLean Woodford Gold with 492 points, Sarah Parker. And winning the junior questions division from Henry Stark 4-H with 492 points, Cashin Ellerbrock. The top 10 teams overall in the junior questions division. 10th place with 1,228 points, Kendall County 4-H number 2. In 9th with 1,233 points, Alla number 1. In 8th place with 1,237 points, Boone County 4-H. In 7th place with 1,251 points, SLS Middle School. 6th with 1,260 points, Kankakee County West. 5th place with 1,295 points, Livingston McLean Woodford White. In 4th place with 1,338 points, Fulton County 4-H. 3rd with 1,372 points, Livingston McLean Woodford Gold. In 2nd place with 1,382 points, Knox County Purple. And winning the junior questions division with 1,406 points, Henry Stark 4-H.
Hi, my name is Jason Sewell. I'm a senior scientist with Pure Animal Nutrition, and today I'm showcasing our Fitter 52 supplement. The Fitter 52 supplement contains 52% crude protein. How the product works is if you look at animals' metabolism, it's going to prefer to use fats and carbohydrates as an energy source. Stop by your local Purina retailer for more information and pick up some Fitter 52 for your next show.
Top 10 individuals in the sheep and goat division. In 10th place from Neoga A with 217 points, Desiree Hewing. In 9th from Grundy Area Vocational Center with 217 points, Jenna Siegel. 8th with 218 points from Farmington FFA, Laura Stevens. 7th place from Putnam County FFA with 219 points, McKenna Boyd. 6th from Mount Pulaski FFA number 1 with 219 points, Evan Cooper. In 5th with 219 points from Triopia, Layla Beck. In 4th from Mount Pulaski FFA number 1 with 220 points, Clay Aylesworth. In 3rd from Spoon River Valley with 224 points, Caleb Mason. In 2nd place from Farmington FFA with 225 points, Anna Wabel. And winning the Sheep and Goat division with 229 points from North Clay Blue, Katie Pearson. Top 5 teams in the Sheep and Goat division. In 5th place with 627 points, Cissna Park number 1. In 4th with 630 points, Henry Stark 4-H. In 3rd with 631 points, Grundy Area Vocational Center. 2nd place with 637 points, Mount Pulaski FFA number 1. And winning the Sheep and Goat division with 655 points, Farmington FFA. Top 10 individuals in the Swine division. In 10th place from Farmington FFA with a score of 163, Ethan Emkin. 9th place with a score of 165 from Dwight FFA number 2, Katie Parker. In 8th from North Clay Blue with 166 points, Sierra Payne. 7th place from Triopia with a score of 166, Layla Beck. In 6th place from Alla number 2 with 168 points, Logan Beckmeyer. In 5th place from Mount Pulaski FFA number 1 with a score of 169, Evan Cooper. In 4th place from United number 2 with a score of 171, Jack Youngman. In 3rd from Farmington FFA with 171 points, Anna Wabel. 2nd from Prairie Central with a score of 174, Ivan Miller. And winning the Swine division with a score of 177 from Henry Stark 4-H, Cole Ellerbrock. Top 5 teams in the Swine division. In 5th place with 473 points, Cissna Park number 1. 4th with a score of 478, Alla number 2. 3rd place with 482 points, Prairie Central. 2nd with a score of 497, Henry Stark 4-H. And winning the Swine division with a score of 497, Farmington FFA. Top 10 individuals in the Beef division. In 10th place from Triopia with a score of 120, Layla Beck. 9th from Henry Stark 4-H with 120 points, Cole Ellerbrock. 8th from Cissna Park number 1 with a score of 121, Kaylee McWethy. 7th place from Farmington FFA with a score of 121, Ethan Emkin. 6th with 122 points from North Clay Gold, Ellie Fleener. 5th place from United number 1 with a score of 123, Trace Titus. 4th from Grundy Area Vocational Center with a score of 124, Jonathan Riley. 3rd place with 125 points from Newark FFA, Haley Dannenberg. 2nd place from Henry Stark 4-H with a score of 133, Kylie Gillespie. And winning the Beef division with a score of 138 from Grundy Area Vocational Center, Jenna Siegel. Top 5 teams in the Beef division. In 5th place with a score of 339, Triopia. In 4th with 349 points, Mendota. In 3rd with 351 points, Genoa Kingston FFA. In 2nd with a score of 362, Grundy Area Vocational Center. And winning the Beef division with a score of 372, Henry Stark 4-H. Top 10 individuals in the Questions division. In 10th place from North Clay Gold with a score of 80 points, Ellie Fleener. 9th from Prairie Central with a score of 80, Ivan Miller. 8th with 80 points from Sycamore High School, Jordan Block. 7th from Genoa Kingston FFA with 85 points, Delaney Heyman. 6th place from North Clay Blue with 85 points, Katie Pearson. 5th from Sycamore High School with 85 points, Morgan Fiddler. In 4th place from Grundy Area Vocational Center with 90 points, Jenna Siegel. In 3rd from Farmington FFA with 90 points, Anna Wabel. 2nd with 95 points from Triopia, Layla Beck. And winning the questions division with a score of 95 from Henry Stark 4-H, Cole Ellerbrock. Top 5 teams in the questions division. 5th place with a score of 200, Grundy Area Vocational Center. 4th with a score of 235, Sycamore FFA. 3rd with 235 points, Genoa Kingston FFA. 2nd with a score of 245, Farmington FFA. And winning the questions division with a score of 250, Henry Stark 4-H. Top 10 individuals overall in the senior questions division. In 10th place from Henry Stark 4-H with a score of 485, Ryan Murphy. In 9th from Newark FFA with a score of 487, Haley Dannenberg. In 8th with 490 points from Cissna Park No. 1, Kaylee McWethy. In 7th from Mendota with a score of 491, Carly Reel. In 6th place from Farmington FFA with 496 points, Ethan Empkin. In 5th place with a score of 497 from Grundy Area Vocational Center, Jenna Siegel. In 4th from Henry Stark 4-H with a score of 497, Kylie Gillespie. In 3rd from Triopia with 505 points, Layla Beck. 2nd place with 511 points from Henry Stark 4-H, Cole Ellerbrock. And winning the questions division with a score of 514 from Farmington FFA, Anna Wabel. Top 10 teams overall in the senior questions division. In 10th place with a score of 1357, Ala No. 2. 9th with 1,358 points, Prairie Central. 8th with a score of 1381, Cissna Park No. 1. 7th with a score of 1390, North Clay Blue. 6th with 1,401 points, Grundy Area Vocational Center. 5th with a score of 1411, Genoa Kingston FFA. 4th with 1,413 points, Mendota. 3rd with a score of 1421, Triopia. 2nd place with 1,490 points, Farmington FFA. And winning the senior questions division with a score of 1,493 points, Henry Stark 4-H.
The Purina High Octane Alleviate Show Supplement is a multi-species supplement that can be fed to show cattle, show lambs, show goats, and show pigs. This supplement is designed to maximize your animal's performance in the show ring for just pennies per head per day. Stop by your local Purina retailer for more information and try it for your next show.
Top 10 individuals in the sheep and goat division. In 10th place from Eastern Hancock White with 233 points, Audrey Wooldridge Jacoby. In 9th place from LaSalle County 4-H with 233 points, Kara Freebairn. In 8th place from Boone County 4-H with 233 points, Cade Boatman. In 7th place, his teammate with the same score, Kendall Boatman. In 6th place from Livingston McLean Woodford Orange with 233 points, Lauren Moore. In 5th from Fountain Central FFA with 235 points, Ray Duncan. 4th from Young Guns with 235 points, Morgan Schaefer. Third place from Blue Ribbon Christian County with 236 points, Ty Nodal. Second place from Eastern Hancock Blue with 239 points, Hunter Knudsen. And winning the Sheep and Goat division from Jasper Judgers 4-H with 240 points, Anna Hannon. Top 5 teams in the Sheep and Goat division. In 5th place with 687 points, Indiana Ag and Tech School. In 4th place with 687 points, Jasper Judgers 4-H. 3rd with 689 points, LaSalle County 4-H. 2nd place with 698 points, Blue Ribbon Christian County. And winning the Sheep and Goat division with 702 points, Eastern Hancock Blue. Top 10 individuals in the Swine division. In 10th place from Livingston McLean Woodford White with 189 points, Morgan Rustemeyer. 9th from Eastern Hancock Blue with 189 points, Ashton Harvey. 8th from Columbia City Gold with 189 points, Carly Linnemeyer. 7th place with 189 points from Blue Ribbon Christian County, Lizzie Schaefer. 6th from Livingston McLean Woodford Orange with 189 points, Preston Rohde. 5th place from Fountain Central FFA with 190 points, Ray Duncan. 4th place with 190 points from Livingston McLean Woodford Orange, Chloe Boitnott. 3rd from Eastern Hancock Blue with 190 points, Reed Hedrick. 2nd place from Blue Ribbon Christian County number 2 with 191 points, Emma Pistorius. And winning the Swine division from Jasper Judgers 4-H with 191 points, Blake Peterson. Top 5 teams in the Swine division. In 5th place with 554 points, Columbia City Gold. In 4th place with 557 points, Jasper Judgers 4-H. 3rd with 561 points, Eastern Hancock Blue. 2nd with 562 points, Blue Ribbon Christian County. And winning the Swine division with 562 points, Livingston McLean Woodford Orange. Top 10 individuals in the Beef division. 10th place from Columbia City Gold with 183 points, Matthew Blackburn. 9th with 183 points from Blue Ribbon Christian County, Lizzie Schaefer. 8th place from Eastern Hancock Blue with 184 points, Ashton Harvey. 7th place from Eastern Hancock White with 184 points, Nash Hensley. 6th place with 185 points from Columbia City Gold, Mackenzie Hoskins. 5th place from Eastern Hancock Blue with 185 points, Reed Hedrick. 4th place from Churubusco Gold with 186 points, Devin Gaff. 3rd from Boone County 4-H with 189 points, Delana Muck. 2nd place from Blue Ribbon Christian County with 192 points, Ty Nodal. And winning the Beef division with 195 points from Jasper Judgers 4-H, Anna Hannon. Top 5 teams in the Beef division. 5th place with 543 points, Eastern Hancock Blue. 4th place with 545 points, Boone County 4-H. 3rd with 546 points, Jasper Judgers 4-H. 2nd place with 548 points, Columbia City Gold. And winning the Beef division with 555 points, Blue Ribbon Christian County. Top 10 individuals in the Reasons division. 10th place with 177 points from Eastern Hancock White, Ashton Willis. 9th from Livingston McLean Woodford Orange with 177 points, Lauren Moore. 8th place from Churubusco Gold with 177 points, Remy Earnhardt. 7th place from Eastern Hancock Blue with 178 points, Hunter Knudsen. 6th, his teammate with 179 points, Reed Hedrick. Fifth place from Blue Ribbon Christian County with 181 points, Lizzie Schaefer. Fourth from Livingston McLean Woodford Orange with 181 points, Preston Rohde. Third place with 184 points from Churubusco Gold, Devin Gaff. Second place from Blue Ribbon Christian County with 185 points, Ty Nodal. And winning the Reasons Division with 188 points from Jasper Judgers 4-H, Anna Hannon. Top 5 teams in the Reasons Division. Fifth place with 531 points, Livingston McLean Woodford Orange. Fourth with 531 points, Churubusco Gold. Third with 532 points, Eastern Hancock Blue. Second place with 533 points, Jasper Judgers 4-H. And first place with 542 points, Blue Ribbon Christian County. Top 10 individuals overall in the Reasons Division. In 10th place from Columbia City Gold with a score of 595, Mackenzie Hoskins. In 9th place, her teammate with the same score, Carly Linnemeyer. In 8th place from Eastern Hancock Blue with 595 points, Hunter Knudsen. 7th from Blue Ribbon Christian County with 597 points, Cole Pollock. 6th place from Eastern Hancock Blue with 603 points, Reed Hedrick. In 5th place, his teammate with 1 point better at 604 points, Ashton Harvey. In 4th place from Blue Ribbon Christian County with a score of 604, Lizzie Schaefer. In 3rd with 607 points from Blue Ribbon Christian County, Ty Nodal. In 2nd place from Fountain Central FFA with a score of 608, Ray Duncan. And winning the Reasons Division from Jasper Judgers 4-H with a score of 622 points, Anna Hannon. Top 10 teams overall in the Reasons Division. In 10th place with a score of 1703, Livingston McLean Woodford White. In 9th place with 1,704 points, Churubusco Gold. In 8th with a score of 1716, Indiana Ag and Tech School. 7th place with 1,740 points, Eastern Hancock White. 6th place with a score of 1754, Boone County 4-H. 5th place with 1,766 points, Livingston McLean Woodford Orange. In 4th with a score of 1767, Jasper Judgers 4-H. 3rd place with 1,783 points, Columbia City Gold. In 2nd place with a score of 1802, Eastern Hancock Blue. And winning the Reasons Division with 1,808 points, Blue Ribbon Christian County. Congratulations to all of the contestants that participated in this year's contest. If you have any questions about JJC, please feel free to reach out to any of the contacts listed at the end of this video. It's not too late to join us and still receive scholarships for the fall semester. Just reach out by May 1st. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you next year.